how do we find our real selves? I mean, how do we figure out what we truly value in a world that is just constantly screaming at us about who we should be? Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And for this explainer, we're going to turn to one of history's most provocative thinkers for a guide, Friedrich Nietzsche.
So let's just dive right in with the big one. What does it actually mean to be yourself?
You know, for Nietzsche, this wasn't some casual question you ponder over coffee. He believed it was life's most fundamental quest, and he didn't just think about it, he actually laid out a path. So let's break down his 4 steps to getting there.
All right, our journey begins with step 1.
Leave the herd. Okay, so Nietzsche argues that before you can even begin to find yourself, you first have to recognize and then step away from this huge pressure to just conform.
So what exactly is this herd mentality? Well, Nietzsche saw it as society's constant pull towards sameness and comfort. It's basically a fabricated moral code, right? And it's not designed for your individual growth, but to control behavior and just keep everything predictable.
You can really see the contrast here. The herd, it offers the comfort of sameness, but the individual path, yeah, it's full of discomfort, but that's where you find creativity and real freedom. I mean, think about it. The schoolyard ridicule for being a little different, or maybe a relationship that stifles your dreams because your partner wants you to fit into their little box. Breaking free is the first big move.
So once you've made that break, that's when the real work begins. And that brings us to step 2.
Step 2 is to own the struggle. And look, Nietzsche is super clear about this. This journey of self-discovery is not some feel-good motivational seminar. It actually requires you to embrace difficulty.
He put it so powerfully. No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. What's really interesting is how he frames that. Self-ownership isn't a right you're just given. It's a privilege you have to earn through struggle.
So the crucial point here is that this is an inner fight. We're talking about facing your own demons, your fears, your deepest insecurities. And yeah, that can often lead to isolation, because it might mean you have to change your whole lifestyle, or let go of friendships, or move on from relationships that are holding you back in the herd.
Okay, so you've left the herd, you've embraced the struggle. What now? Well, this brings us to the really constructive part of the journey.
Step 3. Create your meaning. See, once you step away from the herd's prepackaged values, you're left with a kind of void. And Nietzsche says you can't just leave it empty. You have to actively fill it with your own sense of purpose. Nietzsche was really concerned that with the decline of religion, people would just fall into nihilism, this deep, dark apathy where nothing really matters. His famous line, "He who has a why can bear almost any how," speaks right to this. Your why is your shield against that feeling of meaninglessness.
So how do you find this why? He suggested 3 paths. First, you could find meaning in the deep wisdom of art, philosophy, and music. Second, you could strive to become what he called an Übermensch, a kind of superhuman individual who creates their own values from scratch and becomes the master of their own destiny. But maybe the most powerful path is the third one, amor fati, which means love your fate. This is all about embracing everything in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, and seeing it all as essential to who you've become.
And this leads us to the final and maybe the most profound step in Nietzsche's whole guide.
Step 4 is to live your values. It's not enough to just think about your values. You have to embody them. And to test if you're really doing this, Nietzsche came up with one of the most powerful thought experiments in all of philosophy.
So I want you to really imagine this. A demon appears and tells you that you must live the life you're living right now, exactly as it is, over and over again for all eternity. Every single joy, every single mistake, every moment of pain.
Now, faced with that, would you see it as a divine gift or a horrifying curse? This thought experiment is what Nietzsche called the greatest weight. It is the ultimate test of your values. If the thought of repeating your life forever fills you with joy, then you've lifted the weight. You are living authentically. But if that idea absolutely crushes you, that's a sign you're still living by the herd's values, not your own, stuck repeating the same toxic relationships or unfulfilling jobs just because it's what's expected.
And so, Nietzsche leaves us with this one final question to carry with us. The life you are living right now, is it worth repeating forever?